Welcome, baddies and daddies. I am Mooncat, your guide to where the undercurrents of mystery and magic swirl beneath every word. Tonight we descend into the heart of the Underdark, where power, treachery, and the gleam of ancient magic reigns supreme. Join me, Mooncat, as we unveil the secrets of the Drow, a world where beauty and danger walk hand in hand. Prepare yourselves, this is a tale woven from the deepest of webs, and not all who enter will leave unscathed. Ah, the Drow. Dark elves of the Underdark, where the sun never shines and the spiders always scuttle. Drow society is built on a foundation of shadows, treachery, and a curious love of eight-legged creatures that would send most surface dwellers running for the hills. Let's take a stroll through their world, though I recommend keeping an eye over your shoulder. Betrayal is a way of life here. First, let's talk about Drow society. It's a matriarchy, which means women hold all the power, and the men do what they're told usually. At the top of the ladder are the priestesses of Lolth, the Spider Queen, who rules the Drow with an iron web and often literal webs. Males serve as warriors or wizards, but they'll never rise higher than the boot heels of their matron mothers, who tend to view their offspring as pawns, or, if they're not useful, as sacrifices. The spiders? Oh yes, Drow love them. In fact, Lolth herself is a spider goddess, so spiders are revered, kept as pets, and sometimes, if Lolth's feeling particularly playful, turned into Drow themselves, but we'll get to that. Now, as you might expect, living in the Underdark means living in complete and total darkness. No sunlight, ever. That's fine for the Drow, who have developed eyes that glow a lovely red or violet, perfect for seeing in the dark. They live in vast cities carved out of stone, illuminated by glowing fungi and intricate architecture that would make any surface artist weep. Black marble towers, silver ornaments, everything designed to remind you that the Drow are rich, dangerous, and better than you. What's interesting, though, is that the Underdark is filled with Ferrisress, a kind of magical radiation that powers Drow spells. It makes teleportation tricky and can warp reality in strange ways, but the Drow have learned to thrive in its chaotic glow. Being born a Drow comes with certain advantages, like inheriting the family estate and a deep mistrust of everyone around you. Oh, and magic. Yes, magic runs in their veins the way cynicism runs in a politician's. Even the tiniest Drow child can summon a bit of light or levitate a few inches off the ground, much to the annoyance of parents who just want them to sit still. This magic isn't learned, it's part of their bloodline, like good cheekbones and a penchant for betrayal. For the Drow, casting a spell is as natural as breathing. Now, if you're a proper Drow noble, you'll have a house sigil, a magical emblem that says, "I'm important and I can prove it." These sigils are family heirlooms, often enchanted to give protection, status, or in some cases, a swift and memorable curse to anyone who crosses the line. They glow with a menacing power and are proudly displayed on everything from armor to cutlery, just in case anyone forgets who owns the biggest castle on the block. But these aren't just symbols, they're walking advertisements that scream, "My family is better than yours." You see, the Drow sense of morality is a bit upside down. Deceit is a virtue, betrayal is encouraged. And if you're not stabbing someone in the back, you're probably not trying hard enough. Family life reflects this quite beautifully. Siblings, parents, and children constantly scheme against each other, and assassination attempts are just another part of growing up. Despite their questionable morals, the Drow are strikingly beautiful, with midnight blue to ebony skin, often as smooth as polished stone, and hair that shines in stark contrast, ranging from silver to pure white. Their eyes are perhaps their most captivating feature, glowing in shades of red or violet, adapted to the perpetual darkness of the Underdark. Tall and slender, their physiques are lithe and graceful, built for stealth and agility. They dress in intricate, dark armor or robes adorned with precious metals and symbols of spiders, blending elegance with an ever-present sense of menace. Of course, the Drow are not without weaknesses. For one, they have a profound sensitivity to sunlight. While they can survive on the surface, daylight leaves them dazed and sluggish, so they prefer to stay where they're strongest, in the dark. Among the many complex layers of Drow society, some choose to follow Vaharon, the god of rebellion and male empowerment. His followers, mostly outcast males, reject Lolth's matriarchy and long for a time when they might throw off the chains of female rule. They're the minority, of course, and they usually operate in secret, because being openly rebellious in a city where spiders spy on you is not a smart move. Then there are the Yochlals, Lolth's personal emissaries, and, quite frankly, one of the best reasons to avoid annoying a high priestess. These delightful creatures are part demon, part ooze, and all bad news. They shapeshift, they slither, and they ooze their way into Drow society whenever Lolth needs to make a point. Usually the point of how easily you can be replaced. They're not exactly the type to sit down for a chat, unless the chat involves torture or devouring someone. Even other demons avoid them at parties. But what happens if a Drow fails in their duties or displeases Lolth? Enter the Dried as those unfortunate souls transformed into half-Drow, half-spider abominations as punishment. Their minds are shattered, and they are cast out from society, left to wander the tunnels alone. Drow craft weapons and armor as deadly as the Drow themselves. Forged from materials like adamantine and often enchanted, these weapons are feared on the battlefield. But there's a catch under sunlight. Drow equipment tends to weaken and crumble, a fitting metaphor for the Drow themselves, who thrive in the darkness but falter in the light. Drow are deeply materialistic. It must be said they have a fondness for shiny things. Gold, silver, rare gems. If it glitters, they want it. In fact, they've built entire cities to show off just how much glitter they've amassed. Picture this: black marble towers, glowing fungi casting dramatic shadows, and webs of silk woven so fine they could catch moonlight if, of course, the Underdark had any. But for the Drow, possessions are more than just objects. They're status. The more opulent your palace, the more fearsome your reputation. In Drow society, wealth isn't just about luxury, it's a declaration that you're winning the never-ending game of backstabbing and treachery. After all, what's the point of power if you can't rub it in someone else's face? For those few Drow who want to escape their oppressive world, life on the surface offers a glimmer of hope. These rare individuals, known as surface Drow, reject Lolth and try to live among other races. But even if they manage to flee the Underdark, they find little welcome in the surface world, where prejudice against their kind runs deep. And then there's the Lich Drow, Drow wizards who seek immortality by becoming liches. This path is not for the faint-hearted, but for those Drow who want to cling to power indefinitely. Lichdom offers an eternity to plot, scheme, and perhaps even take over the Underdark one day. Duels in Drow society are less about fighting and more about performance art. There's no such thing as a fair fight. Where's the fun in that? Poisoned daggers, invisible traps, maybe even a friendly giant spider lurking nearby for a surprise nibble. It's all part of the game. These aren't just disputes, they're elaborate productions with a captive audience, everyone quietly placing bets on who will cheat more creatively. Winning is less about skill with a sword and more about being devious enough to have already poisoned your opponent's wine 3 days earlier. Lose and you're dead. Win and you're alive until the next dagger finds you back, of course. Despite all the treachery and intrigue, the Drow remain a powerful force in the world, regularly sending raiding parties to the surface. These raids aren't just for supplies, they're also about capturing slaves, spreading fear, and reminding everyone that, even in the brightest daylight, the shadows of the Underdark are never far away. And so, the Drow live on fighting, scheming, and serving their Dark Queen, all while watching their backs for the next betrayal. For in the world of the Drow, trust is a luxury no one can afford. Thank you for venturing into the depths with me. As the darkness fades and the world of the Drow slips back into the shadows, don't forget to light your way forward by liking, subscribing, and sharing these tales with those brave enough to listen. Until next time, keep your wits sharp and beware the webs you walk through. This is Mooncat, signing off from the edge of the unknown. Stay curious, stay bold, and I'll see you in the next story.